And that will be the Breeders' Cup Mile. 3-year-olds and up at a mile. $2 million is the purse. A mile on the turf. And of course, the reigning horse of the year, Wise Dan, is in the field, and he is currently the 4-5 favorite. Olympic Glory, a distant second choice, held at 5-1. So the fans think Wise Dan can do it again. Let's go to Kenny Rice.
Sing a song. Sing a song.
Well, Tom, Jose Lezcano, who is 3 for 3 with Wise Dan, will be aboard. He won the first 2 races to start the campaign for the champion, so it was not a hard decision for Charlie Lopresti, the trainer, to move Lezcano on, who was opened up. All this happened earlier because John Velasquez was injured in a spill earlier in the day here at Santa Anita. We do have an update on that. This coming from Bob Elliston, who is the COO of the Breeders' Cup and who is also the liaison with human injuries. Elliston telling me just a few moments ago that Velasquez was doing fine in the hospital. Then they noticed some internal bleeding just a little over an hour ago. And at this time, he has been taken into surgery to have his spleen removed. That is the latest information that we have here on John Velasquez at this time. And so sad news for Velasquez. We certainly send out our best wishes to him. And Jose Lezcano is back in familiar territory, back in the saddle of Wise Dan, the defending champ, Tom.
All right, Kenny, so we echo those sentiments, and what a tough break for John Velasquez, the injury, and he was primed for a big day.
Yeah, you know, in the jockey world, that's not the end of the world. I mean, when you can move your hands and your legs and you get up, you know, that's step number one. And then the next question is, can I ride pretty soon? And obviously John Velasquez will be able to ride in a month or so. But it just happened at the most inopportune time for Johnny Velasquez. You know, biggest day of the year that we have here. And he's lost some good rides, but in the bigger picture for him, it's not the end of the world.
And it's certainly good for the ownership of Wise Dan that they have a jockey in Jose Lezcano who can step in, who has experience on Wise Dan. You know, the big question that everyone's asking now about Wise Dan, about his chances to win this race, is he the same horse he was a year ago? People have been jumping off his bandwagon like rats off a burning ship, even though his last defeat snapped a 9-race winning streak. You know, here is Wise Dan in last year's Breeders' Cup Mile. He was dominant. Now, Animal Kingdom does really rocket between horses to run a strong second. But Wise Dan won the Horse of the Year off that performance. Then, last time out at Keeneland, he was beaten.
He was beaten. This was on synthetic surface. You can see him in the first turn. He's very, very wide. He's wide on the second turn, too. So that took a little bit of starch out of him. He's not able to outrun Silver Max on the lead there. Now Silver Max ran the race of his life this day. Wise Dan, if you look at the numbers, he ran as good as he's normally used to running. So I don't think he's lost a step either. But I will say one thing. No horse can take the worst of it on both turns with quality horses in the race and win.
Silver Max ran a hole in the wind that day. Right. And Wise Dan still was the better horse because of the extra ground that he covered. So I think he's still on top of his game, too.
And, of course, obviously a horse with a lot of speed was third in this race last year.
And this is going to be fascinating. This is going to be a shootout. You have, obviously, to the outside of Silver Max, 2 horses that need to have the early lead to win. And we talked to both trainers. Neither one of them are giving a quarter. Mike Mitchell, the trainer of Obviously, says, I'm faster than Silver Max. My horse is faster. We're going straight to the lead.
We then talked to Dale Romans, and he said, I'm on the inside. I'm going straight to the lead. And if Obviously is going to outrun me, he's going to go suicidal to do it. So game on, dude.
and of course, there is Obviously.
And he set the pace last year in here, and he went pretty quick in doing it, and he hung really tough until the middle of the stretch, and Wise Dan and the rest of the group came running at him. He finished third. He tried rating him earlier in the season just off another hot pace. It didn't work out too well, and that's the main reason trainer Mike Mitchell said he's really going to go ahead and go to the lead.
Sometimes horses just have it in their mind, I'm supposed to be in front. If they're in front, all's well with the world. They run a heck of a race. You get 2 of them like that in the same field that are fast next to each other, it could be counterproductive. We'll see.
There's going to be some smoke coming off that turf course around the first turn.
And let's go to Bob Newmeyer.
Well, there can be no question that the racing community at large is rooting for Obviously and his trainer Mike Mitchell. On June 29th, Mitchell underwent brain surgery for a tumor. He's been taking radiation treatments ever since, fighting the good fight. Mitchell says what keeps him going is his family. His daughter is married to jockey Julien Le Peroux. He says what keeps him going is his religion and his horses, obviously. And if Mike Mitchell obviously should win this race, you'll see emotion that will tug at your heartstrings like you cannot believe. Obviously. Here's Kenny Rice.
All right, thanks, Bob. You know, sometimes at a certain age we get on a computer and we may let it, well, we may just not finish it up. That was the case with Mark Bacon a couple of years ago. He was registering with the Jockey Club to name this horse. So you turn it off, you wake up the next day, and you find out the Jockey Club's accepted the name Silver Max, but you didn't send it in.
I certainly didn't. It was my son Max was 8 years old at the time. I opened the computer, got on the Jockey Club website to name him, and I just walked away. And 3 days later, we got a letter in the mail that he was named. I was a bit nervous opening up the letter, but he did a really good job.
That was very impressive. And Max, who's now 11 years old, you didn't forget your little sister Olivia here. You also named a filly for her. What's the name?
Olivia B.
You like that name?
Yes.
Okay, so at least he's a good older brother, isn't he?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, good luck today, Silver Max, who defeated Wise Dan the last time out and was named by Max Bacon here. Let's go to Mike Battaglia.
All right, Kenny. Well, I just talked to trainer Charlie Lopresti. I asked him about the rider change. Doesn't bother him a bit. He said, sure, he'd like to have Velasquez, Jose Lezcano, a perfect replacement. He's ridden him before. I asked him, is he as good now as he was last year? He said, I think he is. How confident are you? Very confident. I think he'll win. I also asked him about the poly-track last time. He said, this horse likes the poly-track. It really wasn't the poly-track. It was the water standing on the top of the poly-track. He just didn't seem to handle it as well. He's going to be very glad to get back to the turf, and Charlie Lopresti is very confident, Tom, in Wise Dan's chances for a repeat.
All right, so Wise Dan, the reigning horse of the year, lost his last race to Shadwell Turf Mile, which because of heavy rain was taken off the turf course and onto the poly track at Keeneland. You heard Mike say it rained so much there was water even standing on top of the poly track, which is always fast. Can Wise Dan come back to win again in the Breeders' Cup Mile?
Welcome back to Santa Anita. One more race to go, the mile, before we get to the Classic. I'm Billy Bush in the paddock, and just yesterday I got a chance to slip into the inner sanctum here of Santa Anita, where the legends prepare, they celebrate, and most importantly, they shower. Welcome to the Jockey's Room. Joining us for the ride, veteran jockey Aaron Greider. Here we go.
All right, so this is where it all starts. Before and after every race, we weigh in with our saddle and all our equipment, so.
All right, how much do I have to weigh here to be a jockey?
About 120. We can't come in underweight. That's not gonna be a problem for you.
I'm way over. Yeah, too bad. The guys are all lounging around, hanging out. This is their place. I hope we...
Yeah.
Right? Here's a guy reading on the couch over here, hanging out. That's the equicizer?
This is the equicizer, and it's supposed to simulate a horse's action.
I'm gonna go for the big mount, if you don't mind. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would be a horrible jockey up there.
No.
And we're going down the stretch.
Here we go.
We're going down the stretch. We're going down the stretch. Come on, buddy. Come on. Come on. Come on. This is tiring, man. You gotta work your knees here. Whew. Everything's kind of come to a hush here in the jockey room because it's the Distaff race, the $2 million race, a huge race. Here they go. Here they go.
Hold her.
Gary Stevens is beating Bubba Velasquez. Gary's in first place.
Look at that.
Hold her in first.
Sitting there waiting for you right now. Wow. Very impressive.
Gary Stevens with a big win. That was like 3-4 lengths right there. Silk room.
It's pretty cool. There's thousands of silks in here, and we don't get to choose what we wear. It's designed by each owner for every horse that I ride. So we change. If I ride 8 horses, there'll be 8 different ones hanging on my locker, and each race I pull them off, and my owners dress me.
You have no choice. If your owner says you're wearing the little bird, you're wearing the bird.
So this is our kitchen. This is our man, Sal. They don't like my food. Sal takes care of everybody here. Sal, how are you? Let me take a look at the little not the jalapenos. No, watch it. The good ones. Want to try one of those?
Oh, Sal. Oh, Sal. I know what those are.
It's okay. Let me eat it. No, I got water.
Oh.
About 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Slow burn. Slow burn. Comes out. Ha, ha. You have any milk? Maybe milk is better than water. I will never eat one of those again. All right, baby. Bingo. Oh, wait. After that chili bean and after my workout.
You just lost 36 pounds.
148. Hey, Sal, give me more of those chili beans. I almost burned my face off. Those chili beans do go into the salsa, though, and in Southern California, you will not find, maybe in the world, a better salsa, and I know you love salsa, Tom.
Well, I'll tell you what, Billy, Jerry Bailey was critiquing you on the Equicizer, and it was not pretty. As we check the odds here, and Wise Dan is still the fan favorite to repeat in the Breeders' Cup Mile, 4-5. Olympic Glory is the second choice at 9-2. 5-1 actually now on Olympic Glory. So Wise Dan, the horse of the year, is still the favorite to win his second consecutive Breeders' Cup Mile, as we join Trevor Denman, the public address announcer here at Santa Anita.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now direct your attention down to the winner's circle for a very special rendition of the Call to the Post by American rock icon Richie Sambora.
That's a first.
That's cool. Yeah.
So Richie welcomes the horses onto the track for the Breeders' Cup Mile and our daily racing form post parade. And number 1, No Jet Lag, who began his career with limited success in England and Ireland, but is 2 for 2 since arriving in the U.S. this summer. Mike Smith also aboard for his prep race win, the City of Hope. That was 1 mile on the grass at Santa Anita. Number 2, Silentio. The colors should look familiar. Elaine and Gerard Wertheimer own the great Goldacova, the 3-time winner of this race. Trained by Gary Mandela, son of Hall of Famer Richard Mandela, but winless in 4 starts this year. Number 3, Silver Max. Dale Romans has made a name with Breeders' Cup grass race upsets. Robbie Alvarado has taken Silver Max to 3 straight wins, expecting to send this colt right to the front. Number 4, obviously another horse with good early speed. He was 3rd in this race last year. He had won 3 in a row before throwing in a clunker in the City of Hope, running 4th. Number 5 is Olympic Glory, a 3-year-old Irish bred who marked his first U.S. start for trainer Richard Hansen, who is a winless at the Breeders' Cup, comes off a big win in the QE2 at Ascot. Number 6, Bright Thought, undefeated in 3 races on turf, but off since March when he won the San Luis Race Stakes here, setting a world record for 1.5 miles on grass. Number 7, He Be Fire and Ice, a California bred who was narrowly beaten by Obviously and No Jet Lag in his last 2 races. Trainer John Sadler is in search of his first Breeders' Cup victory. Number 8 is Wise Dan, just the 6th reigning horse of the year to run in the Breeders' Cup, with Tiznow the only one to win. He had a 9-race winning streak snapped in his last race, the Shadwell Mile at Keeneland, where heavy rain forced the race off the turf onto the poly track. 9 is Cristoforo Colombo, the European invader, trained by Aidan O'Brien, who has a win already today. This horse has only 1 win in 8 starts on turf, no wins beyond 6 furlongs. Number 10, Za Approval, owned by Campbell Soup Air Charlotte Weber's Live Oak Plantation, winner of this race in 2007 with Miesque's approval. Won the Knickerbocker handicap in his last, following losses to Obviously and Wise Dan. That is your field for the Breeders' Cup Mile. Well, overwhelming support here for Wise Dan to repeat in the race. Let's see what our handicappers think.
Absolutely, Tom Hammond. This is my best bet of the weekend. Perfectly set up behind the speed.
Perfect.
In 3rd, going around the turn, should kick in for home. Forget about the loss at Keeneland and the synthetic, wet, whatever. I love this horse. If he wins, and again, if Game On Dude loses, I think he's got an excellent chance at Horse of the Year.
To repeat, and I just like him too. I've never lost confidence in this horse. I really believe Silver Max was a deserving winner last time out. He beat him flat out, no doubt about it. But he ran the race of his life. If he does it again, I guess he could beat him again. But this is more of Wise Dan's surface. He loves the turf. He has not lost on the turf in a long time, and he's already proven here I just think he's a solid bet, Tom, for a repeat win.
We have to break this European hex here, perhaps. Olympic Glory and Cristoforo Colombo are trying to sweep it for the Europeans. But we believe in Wise Dan. We think he will win this race. And again, as I mentioned before, I mean, I'm dying to see this classic, you know, see who might win Horse of the Year. And, of course, everybody rooting for Mike Mitchell as well, with obviously that's a great, great story. Tom, back to you.
All right, 2 votes for Wise Dan, who continues as the 4-5 favorite to win his second Breeders' Cup Mile Championship. And all eyes will be on Jose Lezcano replacing John Velasquez aboard Wise Dan. Can he do it again? Or can Mike Smith engineer an upset? He'll be aboard No Jet Lag. Skyline of Los Angeles in the distance as seen from Santa Monica, and as the sun will be going down before long, we remind you that at 8 Eastern, the best thoroughbreds in the world will be here at Santa Anita for the $5 million Breeders' Cup Classic. That's tonight, live in prime time over on NBC. Recheck of the odds now for the Breeders' Cup Mile. And Wise Dan, the reigning Horse of the Year, still is the overwhelming favorite to repeat, with Jose Lezcano subbing for the injured John Velasquez. Let's go to Donna, who's been watching the horses as they warm up. Donna?
Well, you know, as we've talked about, Wise Dan gets a new rider today, but not really a new rider. Jose Lezcano has ridden him and won on him several times before. He looks great. You know, this is probably his last race of the year, the reigning Horse of the Year, and comes into it off of a second-place finish, but I think he looks fabulous. We have a couple Europeans in here, the 5 Olympic Glory and the 9 Cristoforo Colombo. As has been the norm for them throughout these Breeders' Cup races, they have gone beside a pony but not with a pony. They both look good in the post parade. I should mention that the 9 Cristoforo Colombo is going to load with a blanket on, and Tom, you know about that blanket. It's the blanket that they put over him. It just makes them feel a little bit safer in the starting gate. That starting gate is really a confined space and it's loud, and that blanket just makes them feel, I guess you could call it a security blanket, Tom.
All right, Donna, for sure. And, of course, Wise Dan, the old veteran, he had that 9-race winning streak stopped when the race came off the turf onto the poly track at Keeneland. He's a 6-year-old, and this is old hat to him by now.
This is such a cool horse to ride. These kind of horses that are really fast and have great acceleration. It's like sitting in a Ferrari. You push the button when a jockey just letting the reins go, throws you in the back seat. That's how quickly he can move. But he's perfectly positioned because he has enough speed to be anywhere Jose wants him. And when he wants to push on the gas, he's there automatically. So shouldn't be any problem with him. Traffic doesn't matter. If he's on his game, he'll beat these horses.
And, of course, we do have to mention the Europeans. They've had such a rousing success here at Santa Anita. There's Olympic Glory. Will it be another repeat as they go to the grass? You've got to think of the Euros.
They haven't lost a grass race in 2 days. The two drawbacks to this horse and why is some of the Europeans have been a bit skeptical. He won his last race very impressively in England over extremely soft turf. So soft that the race he won was run about 10 seconds slower than what a Breeders' Cup Mile would normally be run in. They say he likes that kind of surface, and obviously it's going to be very firm. It is very firm at Santa Anita today. Secondly, how much did running on a demanding surface like that take out of him? That race was October the 19th. Well, his jockey Richard Hughes, who won the Juvenile Fillies turf yesterday on Crescelium, has been very adamant that he does not think the race took anything out of Olympic Glory at all. And that's a very important opinion there for Hughes.
And, of course, ignore Mike Smith at your peril. He's aboard No Jet Lag.
No Jet Lag, perfect since coming to the United States. As you mentioned earlier, Tom, won at Del Mar, won most recently here at Santa Anita. He'll be 6 or 7 lengths off the lead. You'll see him back in the pack. Michael bide his time. And watch him start to move as he hits the far turn. He came with a ferocious finish in his last out. He ran down Hebe Fire and Ice. Don't overlook this horse. He'll come with a hard run if it's fast enough up front, and Wise Dan is off his game just a touch. This is one of the horses that could upset the apple cart.
And what a perfectly named horse. No Jet Lag was flown over from England and immediately adapted to life in the United States.
And, of course, Silver Max.
Well, again, the pace scenario rears its ugly head. Silver Max to the post position directly inside of, obviously, keep your eyes on the 3 and the 4 as the horses leave the starting gate. It's going to be a real race to see who gets to the front. There's your formulator fact about Silver Max. All of his victories have come in races in which he set the early pace, and you can say the same thing about Obviously.
Should be fun. I mean, it's a race within the race.
And that's a reason to like Wise Dan, because he has the tactical speed to be sitting right behind a duel like that and take advantage of it.
His jockey Lezcano will probably break, be 3 or 4 or 5 lengths off the lead. He'll never probably go to the rail. He'll stay in the 2 or the 3 path. I think this horse is good enough to do that. And when he deems it's time to go, he's going to push the button.
I'm snapping outside.
Wise Dan in the colors of owner Morton Fink. 7 horse. He Be Fire and Ice. Kenny?
Hey, Tom, I just talked to Ron Perry, the owner of He Be Fire and Ice, the 7 horse. This horse was out all last year with a torn ligament. He's come back this year to win 4 times. So his owner said this is a reward. He put up a $100,000 supplement, hoping that He Be Fire and Ice will become the first California bred to win this race.
And here is the horse of the year, Wise Dan, number 8, into the starting gate. And for the call of the mile, let's go to Larry Colmus.
All right, Tom, here's Olympic Glory. It's been Europe so far. We'll see if they can do it again with Olympic Glory, who goes into line. One more Za Approval will be the last one to load. Here we go, all in line. They're off in the Breeders' Cup Mile. Wise Dan stumbled just a bit coming out of the gate. And Silver Max goes out to take the early lead. And there goes obviously after him. And Bright Thought is right with the leaders 2 and 3rd. And then it's Silencio to the inside in 4th. In between horses is No Jet Lag, who's off the rail and moving up. Za Approval is next. Olympic Glory is just to the inside of Wise Dan. And they're 6 lengths off the lead early. He Be Fire and Ice 4 lengths behind them. Cristoforo Colombo is the trailer. 21 and 4 was the first quarter. Onto the backstretch, and obviously going along at a freaky pace. He's out there by a 3-length margin over Silver Max in 2nd. And then it's Bright Thought, No Jet Lag. 2 lengths back to Za Approval. Silencio is done on the inside. Wise Dan is outside of Olympic Glory, and they're still 6 lengths behind. Past a half mile in 44 and 2. By far the fastest half in mile history. Into the turn they go. And obviously continues to lead the way. Taken on by Silver Max on the outside. Za Approval moves up into 3rd. No Jet Lag is 4th. Wise Dan has had this hot pace in front of him. He's 4 lengths behind. Olympic Glory is under a drive, and they're into the stretch. Obviously, Za Approval comes after him. Wise Dan's in the center of the course. Silencio is coming on too, but here's Wise Dan alongside of Za Approval. Silencio coming up the fence. Wise Dan's got him. Wise Dan, brilliant in the mile. Za Approval was 2nd. Silencio was 3rd. Close 4th, possibly Silver Max. The final time was 1 minute 32.47 seconds. Wise Dan did it again.
Wow, Wise Dan making a bid for his 2nd straight Horse of the Year title after winning the mile for the 2nd straight year. Running down after that fast early pace, running down the early pace setters with Jose Lezcano picking up the mount from John Velasquez, who was injured earlier today, and riding him perfectly to victory in the mile.
What a gamer. What a gamer. Further back early. Now, the pace was really, really hot, so you expect, but I thought he was further back than a guy like Velasquez would have placed him. It kind of surprised me. His jockey, Jose Lezcano, looked like he was niggling him on him, asking him a little bit down the backside. He started to pick up horses, started to go around, and then Lezcano decided, I can't go around all these horses and win, so he tucked him back in a little bit, waited until he turned for home, and then angled out. Really a gritty performance.
Well, you say a gamer. This horse is now 19 for 27 lifetime. On the grass, he's only lost once in his life. 11 wins in 12 starts. He, of course, bounces back from that loss that broke a long winning streak last time at Keeneland, and he puts himself, as you said, Tom, right back in the thick of the Horse of the Year conversation.
And you see Donna pulling alongside. Donna?
Jose Lezcano has a smile on his face. Jose, these aren't the kind of circumstances in which you wanted to get your 3rd Breeders' Cup win, but it is what it is. Let's talk about Wise Dan and that terrific run today.
Yeah, sorry about Johnny family or his family people. And, well, he braced his tumble out of the gate very bad, you know. This time went too far back, you know. After that little chatter, you know, going his feet, you know.
Larry Colmus called it when he stumbled out of the gate. Did that give you concern right away?
No, yeah, you know, sometimes, you know, like when the horse tumble out of the gate, you have to go to plan B, you know.
Yeah. So you went to plan B, which was?
Let him go and see his try, you know, go comfort, you know, and try in the
finish the race, you know.
Jared Bailey talked about watching the replay. He said going into the turn, it looked like he thought about going around and then decided to tuck him back in.
No, you know, he's jumping the beat, you know, and I try to take it back, but he's a little tough, you know, and I try to take it back.
So he was thinking about going around.
Just think I don't want to go early, that early, you know.
So Jose put him back in there to relax and wait, and it was very effective, Tom Hammond.
Was indeed, as Wise Dan, back-to-back mile victories. He now has the fastest and fourth fastest mile races in history. And despite all that stumbling at the start.
Well, I guess that's part of the reason why he was further back than he normally is. Not only the hot pace, but not getting away from the gate. As you'll watch him right here, he about half misses the break. He goes down, not to his knees, but just enough to where these other fast horses are going to get another length or two on him immediately leaving the gate. Now, not optimal, but again, not the end of the world. Lezcano didn't panic, but he just lets him settle in further back in the pace. And look, he starts to go around these horses. And now Jose Lezcano tucks him back in. He waits in back of actually Za Approval, the horse that he ran down in the stretch. And I thought that in itself saved him a length or two. And when you only win by a half a length, to me, it's the margin.
I mean, the horse of the year conversation is going to be really interesting, Tom. Of course, a lot depends on what happens in the Breeders' Cup Classic, how Game On Dude runs, and others. Because there's been a bit of a backlash against Wise Dan among some of the voting members that decide Horse of the Year, because they didn't take any more of an adventurous path this year with Wise Dan, running in the same sorts of races, not trying him on dirt, not trying him at longer distances. They felt they should have been a little more challenging to Wise Dan. You know, the owner, Morton Fink, said, the heck with that. Why would I run him in a race where I don't think he's got a great chance to win?
And, you know, you got to give a lot of credit to Za Approval. Most years, the race that this horse ran to be second would win. But when you're hooking a horse like Wise Dan, it's still not enough.
Let's go down to Mike Battaglia.
Bobby makes the shot. Sean stays with Mike.
Yeah, with Charlie Lopresti here, he wanted to run over and take a look at Wise Dan and talk to Jose Lezcano. What do you think, Charlie? Is he all right?
I think, he's great. I just want to look him over. I tell you one thing. If anybody thought that this horse lost a step, I'm sorry for them. But I just want to tell you one thing. This one was for John Velazquez. I'm so sad that he got hurt today, and he came and wanted so much to ride this horse and his family. But we had all the confidence in the world in Jose. He said he stumbled bad out of the gate. He said, I had to go to Plan B, boss. I said, well, Plan B worked as long as we got to the winner's circle.
I think this horse could go to Plan C or D and still win, Charlie.
He's a very, very special horse, you know. I'm sorry he got beat at Keeneland, but I don't think it was all his fault, and I don't think it was Johnny's fault. He was just a victim of circumstance, but we proved that he's the best today.
He's definitely the best. All right, Charlie.
I think so.
Let's check in now with Bob Newmeyer.
With 84-year young Morton Fink, what does this horse mean to you in your life, Morton?
It means my life goes on. Without him, I doubt it, really, to be serious. Every morning I get up and I think, what am I going to do today? I'm going to think about my wonderful and possibly great horse. And that makes me happy. And when you're happy, you feel better, and everything is better.
What a fantastic attitude. Good luck. Maybe you'll be Horse of the Year. You never know.
If Game On Dude wants to take a dive in the next race, maybe.
Very good. Morton, congratulations.
Morton Fink, the owner and breeder of Wise Dan, a 6-year-old gelding by Wiseman's Ferry out of Lisa Danielle by Wolf Power. There are the payoffs. Fan favorite, of course, the shortest win payoff in mile history, $3.60. And here is the complete order of finish in the Breeders' Cup Mile with Wise Dan, Za Approval, Silentio, then Silvermax finishing in 4th place. Obviously, the early pace setter was 5th. You see the rest of the finishers here in the mile. Wow. Isn't it a thrill to see the great ones run? Wise Dan saying, how could you not make me Horse of the Year again? Back in Southern California, back at Santa Anita, there's the winner's circle scene after the Breeders' Cup Mile, won by Wise Dan for the 2nd consecutive year. And coming up next, of course, will be the Breeders' Cup Classic. Check of the odds there. The pressure now on Game On Dude. He needs a win, or maybe Wise Dan is going to be Horse of the Year again. That's all coming up prime time on NBC. So Wise Dan missing from that winner's circle shot. John Velasquez injured earlier today, replaced by Jose Lezcano, but no doubt a smile on his face. He's so attached to Wise Dan. Up next here on NBCSN, the MLS Cup playoffs continue with a pair of matches. Up first, Sporting KC takes on the New England Revolution, followed by the Sounders versus the Timbers. So this is Tom Hammond inviting you now to join us on NBC for the Breeders' Cup $5 Million Classic. That's coming up next on NBC.